Welcome to Nerd Chat number 15. Who's going to start?
James.
James, go ahead.
Thank you, Jay, for the introduction. Yeah, I guess we have a few topics to talk about. I think we were talking about tips for success in cybersecurity. I mean, I don't have too much experience as far as that, just a few certifications that I have. But I think the biggest one for me is just be willing to ask for help. You know, be willing to Google some shit and don't be so hard on yourself if you don't know what the next path is. Because I've been talking to a couple of my friends now and kind of at that crossroads, you know, and at a point where I really need to seek out advice and help for what the next step is. And just got to be willing and open to do that, right? So how about someone with more experience in this field? Pat, you want to hit us?
Yeah, I guess I can give you some success. So I think the good thing now with all the learning platforms, as like Dion does, and I think Adlene, maybe Jay, like try hack me, hack the box, hack.me. Hack.me is from eLearn Security. It's another learning platform. And if you watch the one with Jacob introduced a few other platforms to learn. And this is all good because it's in secluded environments. And you can also just download your own stuff like Metasploitable 3, Metasploitable 2, and put it in your own host-only network and just exploit those VMs. And also VulnHub, you can download the OVAs or the OVFs and load it up in VMware Workstation or VirtualBox. And you can, hack away and, practice and practice and test your exploits, etc. And
all legal.
What?
All legal.
Yeah, exactly. All legal. And obviously some tips for success as well as consistency. I think being consistent and trying to stay up to par with technology because it changes all the time. Just like, the SolarWinds hack, the Red Eye hack. There's a whole bunch of things that in this field, it's constantly changing, and staying on top of your stuff is definitely key. That would be some, successful things for me to share to stay on top of your game on that sense. And, obviously if you're looking for success in the field, as far as getting jobs or something like that, maybe something like get some certifications, like James said, he has a few under his belt, some CompTIA ones. And, maybe Network Plus, Security Plus, JPT from eLearn Security, eLearn Junior Penetration Tester, CEH. I think a lot of people used to bash the CEH because it had a lot of, it didn't get a lot of credit like the OSCP, etc. But I think now they're stepping up their game because they have a written exam and then a practical. So once you get 2 exams now in the V10, I think they started in V11, then you can become what's called a CEH master. And then you have to breach boxes and compromise boxes. It's like the OSCP. I think it's 8 hours versus 24. You guys can, research that on your own. Google's everyone's best friend. I haven't looked into that. So my CEH is from V8 and it was only 125 questions and I didn't have to do any labs for my CEH. But, obviously then it all depends. If you want to do digital forensics, if you want to do any kind of different pen test there is, like Jacob has this OWCP. I think it's OWCP from wireless, from offensive security, and then there's web app pen testing, and then there's network security, red teaming, blue teaming, SIM implementation, Splunk, analyzing that stuff. So there's so many different spaces in cyber that you can be successful at. And I think, and it was funny because I was talking to some mates about this the other day, and with some people with my class, and I'll get into what I'm doing as well. I'm actually teaching some stuff, but we'll get to that in a minute. But I was thinking, everyone's always want to do red teaming, right? They want to be that cool hacker guy that's penetrating your stuff. But think about it like this for a second. If you don't understand what you're hacking on the other side, for example, the blue teaming, and how you are going to be flagged on a SIM tool, on Elastic, or any kind of tools that are in-house, how can you invade, or how can you do sneaky scans or stealth scans when you don't even understand what you're doing on the blue side? So I was like thinking about that. I think it's awesome to know the blue side first, actually get some understanding of Active Directory. So when you do an Active Directory hack, or if you're hacking a Windows box, doing a hash dump and dumping that hash and blah, blah, blah. If you don't really know how that's stored in the SAM database or whatever it is on the AD side or on the Windows side, how is it going to be able to, how are you going to be able to perform that offensive attack when you don't really know how the defense is working? It's just like any sport, defense, offense. If you're not a good defender, you can get the picture.
That's why networking is also a very important topic to know. Actually, before you start with security or whatsoever.
Totally. And I was talking about that with some students last night, because, you have basic protocols, because right now we're doing introduction of networking for cybersecurity. If you don't understand port 80, port, 443, and now like SSL, now the new thing is TLS, right? And all this cool stuff like, compromising DNS servers, port 53, if I'm scanning Nmap scan, Nmap dash P dash, dash capital A for blah, 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 and my IP, I'm getting all these ports that's associated with, X service. If you don't really know what those ports are doing and how they function, how can you exploit it? Unless you just, just a script kiddie, just say, okay, I want to click on this and hope for the best. What is it? Spray and pray type deal. And, you don't want that because you have the feds at your door. But if you're thinking that.
With the risk of a honeypot.
Exactly. And you can use, and that's awesome too. You can set up your own honeypot. Like I have my own.
Oh yeah.
I use Honeybot, and there's another one in, I think one of these Cali. I think I made a video on it. I forget what tool, but I like Honeybot because it's just Windows. You install it, double click, and it's there, and it's just running as a service. And but yeah, that's it for me. We'll go around and we'll go back to me about what I'm doing as far as teaching and what we're doing on that side. But go ahead, Kenny.
Yeah.
Kenny from the block.
Hey, what's up? So it's been a while since I was on here. Of course, life and work.
Oh, your
Of
fault.
course. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Also studies.
Oh, your fault.
I was actually studying for my CWNA. I had a free voucher, and I was like, hey, why not, take a wireless course since I took CCNA wireless a while back. I took the exam in December, the last week right before the new 108 came out. I passed. So it was definitely
Nice.
a straightforward exam. I kind of want to get more into security, of course, especially for wireless, because I actually designed and rolled out whole enterprise wireless. So of course they don't want nobody trying to break in. So of course I'm working with cybersecurity manager. Me and him are working together trying to secure our facility. On top of that, they got me actually studying to be a ISSO, which is a Information System Security Officer, I believe. I think that's what it stands for. Pretty much helping out with audits for security logs and all that good stuff. So I was like, hey, something else to put on my plate. But other than that, Pat actually reached out to me to have me talk to some of his students, I think in March. So I'm looking forward to that. Pretty much talking about how I got into IT, pretty much networking and all that stuff. So definitely look forward to speaking to the students about that.
That's awesome. And if you don't mind sharing, what is the wireless company that you're utilizing for your implementation?
Right now we are using Adtran.
Okay.
Adtran access points. My job uses their switches, NetVana Adtran, BlueSocket 2030s. Nice little device, pretty straightforward. I must say the wireless controller took a bit of a learning because it was not a lot of documents. So I was learning as I go. So that's something, definitely was fun to learn, but headache as well. But
yeah. And then any new, you have some new stuff coming up in the pipeline for some home projects, right?
Yeah. So right now in 2 weeks, actually, I'm getting ready to gut we're doing whole new flooring, so that's why I'm actually downstairs, not in my office. But looking into buying the Dream Machine Pro, so going to redo my whole infrastructure. I have a server that I recently just purchased as well to further some of my knowledge, with Palo Alto, Cisco, and all that good stuff. So definitely looking forward to setting that security appliance. Well, that's all in one appliance actually.
Yeah.
Probably do some videos on that of me implementing this throughout my house, because on top of that, I'm going to use their switch because I'm gonna install security cameras as well. So
Yeah.
it's gonna
And
be
if
a
you
fun
guys don't know what the
project.
Dream Machine is, it's from Unify. So
Yeah.
Ubiquity.
Okay.
Yeah, Ubiquity.
Yeah, break that down a little bit. What is the Dream Machine?
So the Dream Machine is actually what is a security? Security. It's it has a built-in NVR. What else? A switch. So it's all in one appliance. So I'm going to use it. Yeah, it has an IP or intrusion,
Prevent
IDS and IPS.
inspection.
What else has in there?
It does deep packet inspection.
That as well.
It has
All in one.
All in one.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Except wireless, and that's why you have to buy one of these.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. That was the only
that?
thing. It doesn't
A
have
UFO?
PoE. UFO AP.
Nice.
Okay, yeah, I just looked one of these up on Google right now.
They're
Didn't,
$400 for $380.
Yeah, $380.
Yeah.
didn't Network Chuck make a video on one of these things?
I'm going to be getting one too. 'Cause I already got
Yes,
the
I
Switch,
think so.
so I'm going to be buying one. And I'm like in the same boat because I'm actually starting Monday, taking all the popcorn down in my house and repainting my whole house. So
Nice.
then I'm going to get a little, maybe 14U, 12U rack for my NAS, my switch, my Ubiquity switch. Now and then I'm going to put these APs on, one up here, one down here, one upstairs.
Same.
And then, I may do the cameras too for outside, maybe 2 outside and one little one in the house.
Yeah, definitely have some good cameras. I was looking at their reviews on YouTube. A few guys made some reviews on it. Pretty simple installation. Of course, it's a PoE cable. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a fun little project.
That does sound
Yeah,
fun.
if you use cameras, I would recommend cable,
Yeah, definitely.
especially on 2.4 gigahertz. You can kick them off the network, and it doesn't work anymore.
Yep. So yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. I'll probably try to. If Pat is done at the same time as me, we'll probably do a little joint installation video or something.
Yeah.
Sweet, man. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. Let me know so I can do it in my house.
Yeah, definitely,
Dude,
man.
it is amazing. It's $300. Like I literally spent $500 on this little mesh topology with this Asus, one upstairs, one down here, and this thing is way better. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You can manage it
definitely.
anywhere. And it has the cloud key as well.
Yeah, it's integrated in the.
So what is the cloud key, right? The cloud key is so you can manage this. So if you don't have a cloud key, you have to install the controller locally on a machine and then double click on it, make sure that service is running. And then you can only manage it locally. You cannot manage it remotely. You can if you have NAT rules and public IP, if you don't have a static IP, use dynamic DNS services, and that's more networking involved. And this is a all-in-one thing. You just log into your Ubiquity account, you associate your devices with the actual Dream Machine Pro, and bada bing, you're good to go. So it's pretty sick.
Yeah, and you got an app on your phone if you want to take a look at it on your phone as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have it, like when I had in my other house, I have my switches and
So you can stalk on your wife when you're at work.
yeah,
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty
Nice.
something else.
That's the number. That's the reason that fueled it all, actually.
Yep, that was a switch.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's us. So who's next? Big D.
Adlene.
No,
No,
Dion.
Adlene. No. Keep me for last.
No, you just talk about
Best for the last.
Yeah,
Exactly.
last.
Okay, so okay, let's jump to me. I've been a lot busy those days. I missed like 4 or 5 or maybe more Saturday Nerd Talks, and that was because I was setting up this room that was before my storage room. All the shit was there, and now I have an office and I can work, and I just took my projects back. And yes, since I remember that my first Saturday Nerd Talk, I talked about Docker, deploying Docker on server and everything. And I'm still working on those things, but now a bit differently.
Is there so much work in Docker?
Yes and no, but depends on what you're trying to do with it. And that's what I'm trying to say is I'm having this. It's basically Raspberry Pi 3. I just,
Nice.
yeah, it was just something I bought those days and never used it. And I decided to deploy Docker on it to make a home NAS. I'm trying to make the ultra low, low cost NAS you can have at your home with, you know, Raspberry Pi that was there and you weren't use it. And I discovered some really nice scripts and programs to do that. Like I tried something called Dock Starter, which is something that really easy to use. You just have to launch this script, select the package you want, and it automatically set it up for you with all the environmental variables and all of the things that's not very fun to do. But that was limited, so I kept searching and I went over something that is called Open Media Vault. And that's a project made by the guys that were behind FreeNAS, which was back in the days the NAS, the software NAS solution that was provided for Windows, but that wasn't working on Linux. And this time, Open Media Vault is able to run on both. You can have it on a Windows server, on a Linux server, on a Raspberry Pi, and everything you can. And think very fun about it is those guys also made something called Portainer, and it's a graphical user interface for Docker. So now Docker can be used and deployed by anyone, even those script kiddies like Dion, have a NAS at your yeah. I think I wanted to jump on something that Pat said before. He lifted up a very good point about hack the box and everything, because I've been consultant for a company that was trying to hire cybersecurity experts for some inside jobs and everything. And I went over some resumes, and something fun. I realized that those people are now adding their, milestones on Hack the Box. You have the resume, they have their names, their experience, their diplomas and everything. And they have something saying like, I did this box on Hack the Box. I finished this box on Hack the Box. This is my, I'm 300 on 1,000 classmates on this box. And that was really fun finding that, because that was a job, and there was people paying attention to this. That was back in days just a game for hackers.
I think it's pretty cool to, people to put that on their resume, because it's sort of real life. You know what I mean? It's technically compromising the system, and it shows that you have the diligence to finish something as well. So I think it's really cool to actually put that on your resume, and like you have, Adlene, like you have your crash logs, blog and stuff like that, just to put some cool things out there to share with the people. So I think it's awesome to do that.
It sounds like the closest thing you can have to hands-on experience without actual hands-on experience working for a company. So it's like
the most legal way.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
It's the best bet to throw on your resume.
Go ahead, Jay.
I mean, I agree and I don't agree. I think hack the box stuff ends up being more of a puzzle than a real pen test. Like a real pen test is actually a lot easier normally than like a hack a box.
Oh yeah, 1,000%.
So like, yeah. And the other thing though, that's kind of hard for me is that there are a lot of solutions. I don't know how it works with the subscription because I don't have a subscription to hack the box, but I do know that like if the solution exists, then putting it on your resume is null because there's no real way to know if they did it from scratch. And again, doing it from scratch isn't always the best bet, but out of legal options, like, yeah, for sure. That's the best way to go at it. If you're trying to get hired as a pen tester, it's not going to hurt. It definitely isn't going to hurt. You know what I mean? And to expand on what you were saying earlier, like security, offense and defense is kind of like a yin yang. And, I studied forensics in my first degree, and I've been on a pen test where, I recovered safe passwords from their browser via the forensics I learned in that class. offensively to then log into the bank of this company. So I mean, it's a yin yang situation. You know what I mean? You got to remember that when you're learning, is that everything you're learning on defense can be used offensively and vice versa. Otherwise, you're missing out on half of it for sure. The one other thing I want to mention, though, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just adding some water to your cup because, yes, I know red teaming is a lot sexier and everybody wants to do some red teaming, but you have to learn how to build before learning how to destroy. I mean, if you don't know how to blue team something, you will be stopped by the first reflex of a guy working in blue team is changing the default ports, changing the default addresses, changing the default paths, and all your scripts will not work at this time.
I mean, in an ideal situation, but most companies don't have mature enough defenses to stop you. I've only been caught 3 out of hundreds of times, a handful of times out of hundreds of times I've attacked stuff. But like, to be quiet and stealthy is different. You know what I mean? When you're on a pen test, depends on the scope, obviously, but you're not always worried about being stealthy. You know what I mean? In fact, in some cases, you want them to find you because you want to test that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it always depends on the scope and stuff. But yeah, the odds are going to be a lot better, and it's going to be a lot more helpful if you are stealthy. It's just often you're looking for the most direct route, even if it's the loudest, in my experience or in tests that I've done.
No, that's true.
The other thing, though, I think that we've all felt is imposter syndrome. Like, you learn how to do an LFI, and then all of a sudden you have to learn bypasses. Like, that's huge, and it's like, you got to remember that you're constantly going to get into these points in your career, into your learning, that you're going to hit a hill. It's going to look bigger than you could ever get past, and you just have to stick with it and just give it time. Give it the time that, it doesn't happen overnight unless you're a savant or, prodigy. You just got to give it time and say, all right, I'm burnt out. I have this whole new thing of bypasses to learn, and remember that that's going to happen for the rest of your career if you're going to stick with this, because there's constantly new things coming out. Things are constantly changing, and you can't know everything.
True.
No, that's 1,000.
Definitely.
Big James, what's happening with you, buddy?
Yeah, James.
Back to me. Let's hear Dion. What do you got, Dion? And then
Come on, why me?
Then I'll
Okay.
run what I've been up to for the last few weeks.
Okay. Well, I've been doing Trihack Me a lot. Yeah, I think I've done 20 rooms so far. So for me, it's a lot.
Yes.
And last week, for the first time, I hacked the box. I made an account, I think, a year and a half ago, and I never did something with it. I tried to do a room once. I think that was also a year ago, and I stuck, and I never looked at it back. So that's how I figured out Trihack Me. And it suits me more. So I've been more busy on Trihack Me than whatsoever. Yeah, and now gonna build a pound pie, the one like James. How is it doing, James? You finished it yet?
This little guy?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, nice.
Oh, no, that's the. No, fuck.
I tried printing a case for it.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
that's
great. So you can stick it to your pocket or backpack or something.
Doesn't
Yeah, the
fit.
Pona gotcha. I got the Pona gotcha. I mean this one.
Bad measures.
Yeah, I gotta go back to the drawing board.
Pound pie.
Is that like a bad USB or something?
Yeah, the bad
Yeah,
USB.
exactly.
You know it. How far is that thing going, James? You finished it yet?
I never
I'm
tried
on
one of
board of
those,
that.
but I heard that you can run some rubber ducky scripts on the Pwn Pie.
Yeah. And that's what I
Well,
want to do.
Well, if you can do that, that's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm poor, I don't have cash for a rubber ducky.
How
So I
long
have to do it
how
this
long
way.
did it take you to get that from AliExpress?
12 days,
That's
precisely.
not bad.
That's not bad.
So,
Pretty
The
correct.
Raspberry Pi came in today, and that other thing, what's on it? That one was 9 days, and the rest.
so for everyone out there, Dion, what is a rubber ducky and what is this little thing that you're doing?
Rubber duck is a bad USB. Once you plug it in, you can. Now let's say you can add some scripts in it, like a virtual keyboard, No one types 100 words per second or whatsoever. And RubberDucky can. So you plug it in a Windows machine and it grabs up passwords in like 15 seconds. There's no way you can do that with your fingertips.
Yeah. So pretty much it's a keylogger.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, something like
Keylogger.
that. Yeah, you can basically build everything of it.
Yeah. And then the rubber ducky is from a company called Hack5. And
Yeah.
Dion can't afford Hack5, so he goes on AliExpress and gets to try to Right?
Yes.
And then you just make it yourself, dude.
He want to do that because he is a supporter of open source technologies, and Hack5 doesn't make open source technologies, and I think that's a better
Yeah.
move.
That's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Can you write that down for me so I can say that next time?
Well, and I think there's something more interesting about the PwnPy is that there's Wi-Fi on it. So once it's plugged on the victim's machine, it's gonna start a hotspot. You can connect to that hotspot and have a real reverse shell on your phone or when you're around the Wi-Fi hotspot on that
So
machine.
it's like a pineapple and a ducky in one.
Yeah, right.
Is it possible to do screen share?
I don't think so, because something like a VNC server or something will need a lot of power from the microprocessor. And I don't think that.
so.
Yeah, the Raspberry Pi Zero, I don't think can handle that. But
You could probably take screen caps and look at them in real
That's
time.
also fun. Yeah, that's also fun. For educational purposes only, of course.
yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Or when my monitor isn't working or something.
So Dion, I have a question for you, Dion, about your hack the box experience. I know you did a lot of hacking before that, and I want to know if what you did before have been useful for you when you started your hack the box experience.
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, because you froze up.
Yeah, you froze.
Oh, okay, bad connection.
No worries.
I asked you if your past experience before Hack the Box, things you did before Hack the Box have been useful for you when you started your Hack the Box experience.
Oh, how I started doing shit myself without Hack the Box.
I'll try to explain. So what Adlene's asking is, before you started doing Hack the Box, you were doing hacking stuff on your own, right? Like your own little lab. So now with the experience that you have with Hack the Box, and what is your experience? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, has it helped you?
Yeah.
Did it transfer?
Oh, so it actually helped me a lot, especially TryHackMe. At the beginning, with Hack the Box, you get an IP and you have to figure out everything yourself. And with TryHackMe, you get hints. And to be honest, I'm not a pro. Some people think, but I'm not.
Really? Don't you have like 12,000 followers on Instagram?
Yeah, I have fans. I do have fans too. But some people think I'm some kind of master, but I'm absolutely not. I might be the less skilled of the six.
But you look like, you have no lights in the dark, your keyboards.
That's everything I have, man.
RGB lights. Let's call them RGB lights.
And a couple terminals, but that's it. But TryHackMe helped me a lot actually. It gave me a very different perspective of what hacking is. Some people think it's only social media bullshit, cracking a password or phishing scripts or whatsoever. But no, that's not what hacking is about. It's kind of think outside the box and find your way in. Try to exploit it. Try to exploit people. Yeah, be creative.
Yeah,
definitely.
No, and that's a good point, because like even before I started with those vulnerable systems, like I just built everything in house, right? Like I would go to VulnHub. When I did the OSCP, I Googled OSCP VulnHub VMs. I downloaded them all locally, and I just did it all locally. But like the good thing, and that's all local. Like before, I never used really OpenVPN, so you have to actually connect to their server and connect to it and do all this stuff, and it's a totally different perspective than because locally is different than gamified.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because when I started, I actually attacked real targets. I had no lab or what, but things like that. So
Yeah.
I went to Shodan, look for vulnerabilities. I probably hit a couple honeypots too. I don't know, but
Yeah, for educational purposes. All right, Dion, you be quiet now.
yeah.
Stop talking.
No worries.
I
But that's
could
how it
tell,
started. I think that was 2 years ago. It's how it started.
Yeah, no,
Oh, that's
But
it.
I don't recommend doing that.
I wouldn't go recommend robbing people's house, before you become a cop. But yeah,
Technically, my neighbors did it, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
That explains why he recommended, cables for cameras and not IP cameras.
That's
Personal
right.
experience.
Yeah.
but yeah.
So,
James,
yeah, James. Now you're suck.
Balls in your court. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay, I'll keep it quick. I recently, like on New Year's, I actually went on a backpacking trip. We ended up going, like, we took like 40-pound backpacks just so we had all our gear camped out. It ended up being like a 26-mile. If you look at my Instagram, you'll see like we went to the top of this mountain, did all these telescopes and stuff, and dude, I've been like totally into this Baofeng radio right here that I
Ooh.
got from the
oh,
last
cool.
class that I
Interesting.
went to. And yeah, so there was actually a repeater. I've been having fun with this, like hitting repeaters and different stuff like that. And there was a repeater on the mountain that we went to. And there's these old guys on the channel that keep telling me that I need to get my license if I want to talk on this channel. So I finally scheduled my exam and I started studying. And on Tuesday, I'm going to be taking my amateur radio license exam. So looking forward to that.
Radio?
Sweet.
Yeah, it's a ham radio. Yeah.
Very nice.
I got a
Yeah.
buddy of mine in my job. That's all he does.
Oh, really? Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
These
man.
guys get fucking into it, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
he's traveled around the world, literally doing that stuff.
yeah, there was this one guy that used to come into my work and he would talk about like you'd see his car and it'd just be covered in antennas, and then he would talk about like moon bounce technology or like bouncing radio signals off the moon and stuff. And
Yeah, that's nice.
yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten that far into it. But I do want to get my license so these guys can stop talking shit whenever I get on there. So yeah, that's my next step. But other than that, yeah, it's
Is it true that you can capture plane traffic or something like that?
dude, so
What they call on the radio with the sky.
You can
There's
do
a
that with a
lot-
$20
You know what I mean.
dongle. With an
It's-
RF dongle
Yeah.
for $20.
it's kind of
Ah.
scary how much information that you can get with these.
Mhm.
All you have to do is go online and it's all public information, whether it's police dispatch or different other organizations. They use all these different waves, and
And frequencies and all that
all the
stuff.
frequencies are listed
Yeah.
right there. And then a lot of it is going digital now, so like you might be able to hear static of that channel, but you won't be able to actually hear it, at least on one of these radios. But it's still there.
Okay, 1 sec.
Yeah.
Oh, he got something in mind to look like.
Yeah, right,
I've seen the light bulb in this.
Well,
head.
that's someone.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to. Other stuff going on, obviously, just like Adlene said, I've been busy over here doing stuff, family and all that. But yeah,
It's
what I want to
2021.
hear is Pat's new gig that he's got going.
Yeah, man.
Because you know how we value fucking sharing our knowledge and teaching people, and you actually get to do that for work now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
So yeah, I'm working for a company called NextGen, and yeah, we teach. There's two major courses right now. There's full stack network engineering. That's where I think their primary focus was, and so they branched out into the cyber program. And there was one guy that started the program, and obviously they grew, and they have, I think they're on their 5th cohort now. So they wanted to expand, and now they brought me on. So now we're going to be doing more advanced type topics. And like, in the beginning, there's like entry level, it's all entry level stuff. Like, at the end you get your security plus, and then you get the next gen certification that they're trying to actually get industry, credited or something. But obviously that's behind the scenes. I don't really know too much about that. But then I think we're going to be starting to teach more advanced topic, or intermediate topics, so they can get their like CEH. Obviously we have to be careful because CEH is EC console, or we can teach topics. We can call it like white hat ethical hacking course, or however they want to name it. and we can just, teach the content, the 5 phases of hacking and getting into the nitty gritty. And I'm also a part of a project there. Have you guys ever heard of Practice Labs?
No.
I'm sure, yes, you should know, Kenny. IT Pro TV uses that.
Oh yeah, okay, yes.
So when you do your networking stuff, you
Mhm.
on the left, you go to Practice Labs, and it boots up, and you get your router
Yep.
switch, etc.
Pretty much your own sandbox environment.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So this is what we're doing, and they're calling it Project Shockwave. We have 2 UCS servers,
Okay.
one in Texas, where the corporate office is, and one in, you guys probably know him, Rob Riker. He's a CCIE. He's the main trainer. He's the lead trainer on the networking side. And there's one in his area, I forget where he lives, but somewhere where he lives. So now I'm going to be a part of a project of putting VDI solution. So VDI is virtual desktop infrastructure in Horizon View in VMware. So I'm part of deploying and managing this new project, putting vCenter in on these 2 ESXi 7. And so I'm gonna have to brush up on some VMware stuff as well, and more of the infrastructure. So we can have something like Project Shockwave would be equivalent to Practice Labs. So we can have a sandbox environment for pen testing, for networking. On the back end, it's going to be EVE-NG for the networking side. I think we're going to try to do some with the cyber stuff, because we can implement a Windows Server 2008 with Metasploitable 3, and we can have Kali boxes and Windows boxes, etc. So we can start doing internal AD attacks and LLMNR attacks and all these kind of attacks. I can't really talk my fucking retainers, but yeah, so doing all this cool stuff. So I'm part of that. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Like it's awesome, but it's a little overwhelming, because like putting lesson plans together, you think it's easy. Holy moly, it is not easy. Like,
Do you have a newfound respect for your teachers back in the day, or what?
exactly, because it is so true. Because I'm like, oh, in my head it's easy, right? I'm like, yeah, you do video 1, it's setting up the lab. 2, adding pfSense, adding a WAN interface, adding the LAN interface, putting your clients to get DHCP from our firewall. All this stuff is easy in my head. It's like, holy moly, to actually put this plan together and slides and explain different, like the details.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy moly, respect to those guys that are actually doing it, like Keith Barker and Jeremy and all these people that that I looked up to, that I wanted to quote unquote be like, like I'm like, okay, I have a lot more respect. I thought it was easy. I'm like, okay, you just have a slide, you talk about what's on the slide, but putting that slide together and thinking about how to do it in a sequential order and think about that, it's way harder than I thought. But
and not forgetting the step, right?
Exactly. Like now I just write it all down in a Word document, and then I put the slides together. I put all the brainstorming on one thing, and then I put it in the lecture.
Okay.
And obviously I learned, I did the mini cohort that we did a 2-week Try Hack Me course. I walked them through CC pen testing, which is the crash course of pen testing, and then Linux, the Linux challenge. So the Linux fundamentals, the 3 Linux fundamentals, and then the Linux challenge. I actually made some videos on it right now, some walkthroughs. I did it after I taught it, so they can't just watch the video and get all the answers. But so yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm doing over there. I'm loving it. It's like sort of like a dream come true, because it's like that's something I wanted to have with other companies. And obviously at that point, maybe my camera shyness didn't allow me to. I had a mind roadblock in my mind or whatever. Like now it's a little more comfortable. I can converse with people, and it's a little easier to convey the information, versus before I was like starstruck and like ooh, like.
Would you say that making YouTube videos and like nerd chats like this and stuff would help with that?
Yes and no, because I'm gonna be 100% transparent, and if whoever at Next Gen ever watches this, I already admitted this. The first day, I thought I was like, Jacob is the CEO, one of the co-founders. I was like, dude, I got this, man. Like, it's all because and once, like 10 minutes before, I literally had a panic attack. literally, like, I was like, holy shit, like, I'm like, and I gave him, I reached out to him on Slack, and I'm like, hey man, he goes, just go meditate. He goes, breathe, dude, you got this. You know what you're talking about? I'm like, no, dude, I think I'm really gonna have a panic attack. He goes, just go sit down and meditate for 5 minutes. And I'm like, he's like the best dude. Like, hats off to that guy. Thanks so much. And he's like mentoring me, like, to become better at live instruction, because doing it like a YouTube channel, like I'm just talking to myself, right? Like, it's not really live. It's not like, and then you have all these people asking questions. I have the chat open, and you're like, then you have to interact with people, right? It's different than just making a regular YouTube video and talking to people I know that I'm comfortable with. When you're talking to someone asking questions about, maybe you might not even know the answer, you know, and like right off the top, you know, and like one guy was asking something about Ruby Rails. I'm like, I'm not Metasploit is written in Ruby, you know what I mean? That's probably, you know, I'm not like a developer. Yeah, you know, then you get these questions out of left field. It's like, whoa, and obviously you have to convey the information as best as possible and transparent. You don't want to make up some phony baloney story and look like a, you know, an a-hole. But so yeah, you know, like it helped to an extent because it got me more comfortable with the communication, but it's not the same. Like now it's totally trans. Like now we do classes. Like last night, everyone loves me, and like, you know, they think, obviously because I'm a ball buster, you know, like I'm like that with anyone and everyone. Like I'm not going to be fake with one person. Like, you know, I have my personality, and this is the way I am. Like I'm going to bust your chops if, you know, like it or not. But you know,
I can attest to that.
Yeah, he said he was going to do that when March 2nd, when I do my interview. He said, "Get ready, get ready."
Yeah. And then you know, like cool stuff. Like I'm really enjoying it. It's like something that, like, the next 10 years we're looking to, you know, change 1 million lives. There's so many good missions and envisions with this company. It's like outrageous that I feel blessed, you know, like to be a part of that team. It's awesome people. They back you up, you know what I mean? Like in the sense of, if you feel like you feel a certain way, you know, like you can just speak your mind. And it's like I said, like the second day I was still a little nervous, and he's like, you got this. I mean, he rewatched my videos. He goes, because obviously everything is recorded, right? Like all the because we do Zoom with everyone. And he goes, man, the first and second one, you were nervous, so I couldn't even tell. I'm like, I don't know. I got choked up a few times, you know, even like I forgot, because I remember, you know, if you write, for example, cat, this file, height, less, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what it is because you do it all the time. And like, oh, what does less mean? I'm like, you know, I just don't want it all on the screen. I don't know how, I didn't know how to explain. Like,
and you teach them man at that point. You say, man less, don't ask me again.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's like when we did the Linux fundamentals, I was explaining them like -- help, and your man pages are your best friend. You know what I mean? I'm like, there's a billion, you know, even when I did Cisco, CCNA, CCNP, the CCIE stuff, like I did so many question marks. I don't remember, like I was making jokes with like some of the network, like Kenny's in a different group, like with some networking people. Like I installed a couple of switches in a 5-power threat defense device a couple of weeks ago. And I forgot how to, you know, like we had 3 different VLANs. We had VLAN 10, 20, and 30. 10 was going to the LAN, you know, and then there was a database one. And then number 30, VLAN 30 was for our DMZ. And I'm like, crap, like, how do I get these to communicate, you know, like something like an inter-VLAN route, like an SVI or whatever. But I didn't remember. I'm like, I don't do this every day. So the point being, it was like, you know, when I did the lesson, I was just like so used to doing these commands, like, you know, like for example, if I was trying to find a flag, I was like, okay, cat this, pipe, grep, you know, FL for flag. And like, why are you using grep? I'm like, because it, you know, like I really couldn't, the first day I was like, so like caught up, like, I just know how to use the command. I didn't know how to explain the command. So that's where I was like, okay, then I need to really analyze, because now I know how to do it all, but explaining it is totally different. You know, like you might know what an IP address is, right? It's just 32 bits and all bytes and bits and bytes and 8s and blah. But when you have to explain that, you know, that's /23 and /24 /29. You know, like you just
Oh
saw
no, not the
like,
cider stuff.
yeah. Okay, I have 2 routers, you know, maybe I'll do /29. You know what I mean? And because it's four IPs, 2 usable, 1 for broadcast, 1 blah blah blah. Like we know it because we can talk the networking language. But when you're trying to explain that cider, it's like,
To somebody new, especially to someone
exactly.
new.
'Cause
Yeah.
right now,
Tweede prefix.
we have that going on right now because it's network introductory of networking and cybersecurity. Like right now, we're doing basic networking stuff. Like what is an IP address? What is a
Question mark.
you know, all this stuff before we get into the cyber stuff. Because we get right into the cyber stuff.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
How long is this meeting going? Normally we had 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's unlimited now, so we're gonna go on for the rest of the day.
Okay, then I'm gonna grab my my charger.
No, we'll probably be wrapping up in a
Yeah,
second.
yeah. Chris, it's already 1 o'clock, and these guys
Yeah,
are coming back.
because
Yeah.
my screen is getting darker. 15 minutes. So if I'm gone, it's my
Okay.
bad.
No, and that's about it, man. Like it's just cool stuff that's going on, and the more it goes on, the more like I'm doing. Obviously, I'll share it, but it's definitely some cool stuff.
It looks like you're loving it, so.
No, I'm enjoying it. You know, like, and then now obviously with YouTube, you know, when it's I put more content out there, which I like try hack me and hack the box kind of stuff. Because when I was doing the other stuff, obviously it was getting flagged and stuff like that. So now at least it's literally educational. They can go to try hacking. It's all educational. So I think it's a little better. And I'll probably do a pen test lab setup with Metasploitable. I want to do a video of creating Metasploitable 3 with Packer and Vagrant and stuff like that, because people ask me this. Once I put that little picture on, I think I did on LinkedIn and stuff like that, people asking, how did you get that? Because it never worked. Jay, have you ever messed with Metasploitable 3?
No, I haven't touched it since Metasploitable 2.
Yeah, so Metasploitable 2 is easy, right? Source forward, boom, bada bing, you download the OVA and you're good. You just upload it. It's stupid easy. But Metasploitable 3, you have to, because obviously Microsoft is licensing and blah, blah, blah. It's a little trickier. But yeah. And yeah, so it's some cool stuff I'm going to be working on. And, you know, obviously I'm super busy with my house stuff, with work and teaching and everything else. So I'm trying to still make some time, at least 2 or 3 videos a week, and throw it up on here. But yeah, that's it for me, man.
Yep, if you need more electrical tips.
Yeah, and yeah.
Yes.
So I think at the knockdowns done, for the picture I showed you for the fan, I think we'll remove the fan and just put a nice little fixture. And then in the dining room, we'll just do a little chandelier. And then in here, I'm gonna probably put a better fan because it gets a little warm in here, especially when I get that little wrap set up. I might get a little mini AC. My Uncle Joe.
It looks like you're in a basement though.
No, I'm not in the basement. There's no basement.
There's no basement in the floor. I wish.
Yeah, so that's it for me, man. Like I don't want to coop it up, but I know like Dion stuff is dying. But yeah,
Yeah.
next time, man, like it was cool catching
Yeah,
up.
mine is about to shut down.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll
This
wrap this up
fucker is
here.
gone updating, man. He's done updating. That's
Yeah, so that's it for me. And if anyone else has anything else to share, until next time, we can link up. Hopefully, we'll get back on track. It was cool seeing everyone catching up again.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely
most
fun.
definitely.
Let's put try hack me and hack the box in the description so people can try it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Agreed.
And maybe one day, maybe we can, I don't know if it'd be 6 of us, maybe 2 or 3 of us, and we can do some challenges together. I want to figure
Yeah,
out
we can
how
do
to
that, man.
stream.
I'm down for that shit.
I want to figure out how to actually do live stream. Like that'll be cool, like to live stream it and then like get people like with us, and then we can live stream and then we can do it together and see other, that's above my expertise.
I know how to use
How to do all that.
OBS, so I could help with that.
There we go.
I know how to do that.
All right, cool. So yeah, so maybe we
Let's
can do
wrap it
that.
up.
We
All
can
right,
do
guys.
Or I'm leaving.
All right, take care, guys. Enjoy,
Thank
and
you. We'll see you
All
next
right,
week.
you guys.
See you guys later, man.
Take care.
Thanks.
Happy 2021. Cheers, man.